In order, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I have a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second. Been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pose same sign, motion carries. Informational items, inclement weather. Mommy? You're up.
Okay, so pretty much the same as last year. I'll be up by 3 a.m. checking in with all the other transportation directors with weather and listening to all the reports and then jumping in the truck and going out. I calculated it's about, I have 150 square miles I gotta cover before 5 a.m. As you can see by the map, I'm everywhere. So by 4 a.m., I'm on the roads, notating everything, talking to the county, talking to the city, getting a plan together. If the roads are good enough, if they can just put sand down on some of them or if the ice is coming out. And then by 5, I'll be calling Kim and telling her what I'm finding on the roads. By 5:15, I plan on being back in the office, calling city and county roads after our decision's made, whether it's 2 hours delay or not. Because I do let the city and county know if we do call school so that they don't feel that pressure. And it's a good working relationship with them, letting them know what we're doing. And then if we are going to school, by 6 a.m., I have either one or both mechanics in, and we are plowing our lot, doing our snow plow, getting our driver parking ready, getting all our walkways with the icer down on them, ready for the drivers, making sure all the buses have started and getting them warmed up so that they're good to go, and doing a nice coat of de-icer on all the windows and mirrors for them. And then the dispatcher will come in usually at 6 a.m. For regular time because we get parent calls that are crazy. And so she's answering phones, and then I'm back out by 7, rechecking all the roads that were horrible, calling the city or county, asking when they're gonna get there and letting them know the time that my buses will be there. We have snow routes for 1 and 4. The snow routes for route 1, we usually start calling them because they will not drive in that far from Alderdale Road or down on Sonova. So sometimes they come, sometimes they don't. Right now, it's Dow Road, which is where Route 4 snow route is, and that's at the turnaround where we meet Patterson. So I'll usually just send one bus up there to get all the kids that come in. Because Route 1 does not have a good, open, safe place for the bus to pull over and not get stuck. Route 8, I'm going to do an afternoon snow route on, and that's to keep the bus off the riverside of Byron. It'll go and run the same way it runs in the morning. So tomorrow I'm working with Sean, we're gonna do the parent square, get it all set up in there so it's easy to send out. And let them know today's the afternoon snow route for them. And then route 1 and 4 we'll have updated so we can get those sent out for morning and afternoon as well.
Okay, and I've spent some time together really talking about what does the word snow route mean, right? And what benefit is it to keeping our school district open versus having to do a snow day? And how can we support those families amongst that? And so we just really want to communicate. It's sometimes hard, especially for people who have never been up that way, to really understand how drastically different the weather can be. And that we have to honor all students in our district. And so we're just working on that. And I thought it was just important for her to come and share. Anybody who's listening, we will be putting out this information going out to families. We've talked, you'll see in my report, we're going to do a webinar regular so people can ask questions and we can do whatever. So we're just going to continue to let people understand what they're seeing and not seeing.
So there's a situation that happened. I want to say it was the first year that we were on the board, and it's where we had a bus on Highway 22 by the Montesino development, and the windshield completely froze over, and it was because we were out of de-icer, and the bus didn't get on the shoulder because I don't think there's room on the shoulder, so it was stopped on Highway 22. called in for an extra bus to come, and the kids were offloaded on the road onto the other bus. And we had discussed at that time that calling law enforcement to come and give an assist, at least, block the road and have lights on. And I don't believe the administration at that time enacted a policy, but I think that would be
So
something to
I
discuss.
Kind of come up with a plan. So I found de-icer that's in a squirt bottle, so it's not in an aerosol can, therefore it can be on the bus.
That's one good
So
solution.
that way, when they do pull over to stop and they see it icing up, they can do the additional squirts on there. Also, that driver didn't have the defrosters on. So it's a
That's important.
retraining. We'll have a drivers meeting in the beginning of next month, and we're gonna go over the expectations of winter weather driving. And I know you're a hot body and you don't like heat, but guess what? Your defrosters need to be on to keep your windows clear. Open your driver's window and cool off type stuff.
And I think you brought up something that we can talk about when we do have a help needed, not
Yes.
necessarily emergency,
Yeah.
that we need to ask for support,
And
whether it's county or city.
yes, and when we discussed that at the meeting, I had the sheriff's deputy and city officers reach out and said, absolutely, if we were contacted, we would come. I think better for the safety of everybody to have
This
a
year.
patrol car
Yeah.
with lights on. So thank you for that.
Also, the new truck has the flashers on, so I'm gonna be doing snow checks with the orange flashers again, so that the community can see me out there while I'm doing them at
a
godly
good idea.
hours. That way they know that I am out there. It worked last year and gave, I think, confidence to people who never saw the truck because it was too early. So we'll run them with that, those ones.
That's part of that visibility and communicating that they see the flashing light going on, they can at least know it's us.
I think that's a good idea.
Any other
And when
questions?
do you sleep?
When school, when they're all dropped off and parked back in, I will be in my bed within 30 minutes, sleeping for 2 and 3
There
hours
you go.
and coming back into work.
Well, thank you for what you do.
Appreciate any other questions? Thanks, Amy.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to information item number 2, stable funding for school nurses and health room assistants.
So we received a great letter, and I just wanted to bring this up to the table. We have been working really hard with our 2 school nurses and our health room assistants and so forth, and the letter just basically asked to make sure that it doesn't get forgotten and that we continue to support our school nurses. An example would be that they did a presentation on overdose precautions the other night and all of the things that they do within our system. And I just think it's important that, and the community member who brought the letter in and so forth, just basically wanted to make sure that we, when we're planning for our budget for next year and what we're doing moving forward, that we continue to keep our healthcare professionals in mind.
Thank you. Any questions?
And Liz, do you want anything would like to ask? Did I cover you? Good.
Thank you, Linda, for sending that. Appreciate it. Moving on to Superintendent Casey's letters and goals.
So just basically wanted you to be aware of the letter that went out, thanking you and the community for instilling your trust and support in me, as well as working on the goals that we have moving forward. The letter is now posted on the website, and my goals are not any real different, but I've been revisiting the 100-day plan that was initially put out, and we'll be working on solidifying that and presenting it at a study session so that the community can hear all about it and read it and see it. And then how are we going to, I guess the word would be evaluate, but how can we track and monitor the progress that we're seeing within the community, the schools, and the partnerships that are so valuable to a school system, and making sure that they're at least heading in the right direction, right? We want
That's
to
right.
one step forward, right? We want to keep moving in that direction. So it's just there for your information and what we're doing moving forward.
Thank you. Any questions?
I think these are outstanding goals.
Yes.
Great letter.
Okay, moving on. Do we have any public comments?
No.
Anybody online? We'll skip that part. Moving on to student rep reports.
Actually, I have a question. Would we be able to move this further down? One of the fellow reps is at the athletic meeting and we kind of divided duties and I have no clue what they were gonna speak on. Would it be possible to move that down?
Yeah, we can move that down if we good with that to move
No,
to
that's
the,
No problem.
maybe we'll just move it to whenever they show up and. that
Thank
way.
you.
All right, moving on to discussion item F is policy 1400, meeting conduct, order of business and quorum. And I think this has to do with adjusting the times for our study session.
Yes, there's just one adjustment in there. We did have a discussion, about trying to keep all our meetings starting at a consistent time. Tonight, you heard people talking about the time and the light and the whole thing and starting a meeting at 7. The dream and goal of a study session is to really be able to spend some time in study. And if you don't start till 7, and if you happen to have I don't know, a hot topic or a deep topic, then it's 9 or 9:30 or whatever. And so by starting that meeting at 6, we just get a jump on it. We can have our safety and security meetings starting at 5. That just allows that to flow through, and then we would start at 6 o'clock. So that's the reason for the request.
Okay, any questions with that?
Well, I just had a comment. I really got a kick out of this. It submits a written waiver of notice to the board secretary at or prior to the time of the meeting convenes. The waiver must be given by telegram. Does anybody use telegram, fax, or electronic mail? So I thought perhaps we need to take
Update the
telegram out.
Pony Express.
That is kind of cute.
Somebody still uses a telegram.
Can you still do a telegram?
I can try it. Western Union, I think.
You can.
Probably better leave it in there.
Well, I guess if we don't have any issues, maybe we can bring it to our next,
If we have a.
we have a
meeting.
special meeting next week. Perhaps we can have this as an action item, I don't think we need to go through multiple readings of it. We should be able to adopt.
That's the first reading, and then you can make a motion for it to be the second and final.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it all. You can do it all.
That's in discussions you can't tonight, but if you put it on the special agenda, you could do both.
First,
Like
second.
past, first and second.
That's right.
Okay.
Can you help me with that?
Okay, moving on to action items. Number 1 is vouchers and payroll.
Make a motion, we accept vouchers and payroll as presented.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the vouchers and payroll as presented. Any discussion?
I second it.
No, any discussion?
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. And the second action item is the second reading of policy and procedure 6970, naming schools, facilities, and teams and use of mascots, images, or logos.
I'll make a motion that we accept the second reading of policy and procedure 6970, naming schools, facilities, and teams, and use of mascots, images, or logos.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Been moved and second to approve the second reading of policy and procedure 6970. Any discussion?
Can we capitalize presidents after US president?
I don't know.
Thank you.
I think we can without,
I think we should.
but I mean, I think we can do that without having,
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
with capitalization there.
With the adjustment. Where was I at? I think I lost track.
You got a first and a second.
No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 3 is out-of-state travel to Boston for the ASHA Convention for Speech Language Pathologists.
I'll make a motion.
I would like them to present, or if you'd like it in discussion. Or during discussion.
Well, go ahead.
Were you gonna say something? Okay, so, this is a learning opportunity for me. So, Cameron here is one of our fantastic speech language pathologists in the district, and she approached me in the beginning of August about attending the ASHA conference that is done annually. And I approved her to use her, what are the dollars called? Yes,
Yeah.
and so she was doing, and she said, I'll pay for the rest. Did a question, I'm like, that's a great thing, you know, it's a great conference, it's, gives them the most up-to-date information in their field, and they bring that back and share it with the rest of their department. So when this rolled around today, it's in Boston. So I needed to ask more questions, and that should have come to you folks way back in the beginning of August, so I apologize for that. Cameron is paying for her airfare and her room herself, so the only thing she paid for out of her dollars was the conference.
Although she has some money left over, so she can, you know, get
Some
some of that paid for,
meals
yeah.
and stuff, yeah, absolutely. So that's it, I'm just confessing to you folks.
So at this point, I'd like to make a motion to approve the out-of-state travel to Boston for Cameron to attend that conference.
And I second that. And thank you for your candor.
I think it's wonderful.
I'm
Good.
excited to bring back what I learned.
It's been moved and seconded to approve out-of-state travel for the ASHA Convention for Speech Language Pathologists. Any discussion?
I was wondering if she could come give a really short report to the board, because this is something out of the ordinary.
Okay, yeah, I think that would be great.
Yeah, okay.
That was exactly what I was gonna say, so thank you.
Well, you were gonna ask the same thing.
Same thing. With no other discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Good travels, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I look forward to discussing what I learned.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Thanks, lady.
Yeah, enjoy.
Moving on to consent items.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Wow.
Athletic meeting might not get over in time.
I know, I'm trying to collect as much information.
Oh.
Try to slow her down just a little bit.
I still gotta eat dinner, let's keep it rolling.
I hear you.
It's always next meeting.
All right, moving on.
I have some.
Director.
We are waiting for the ESD to certify our end of the year F-196. So they should have that back to us tomorrow, and then just working on my year-end report, which I'll have available for you guys at next week's board meeting. I'm learning a lot.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Mhm.
Any questions for Delise? Thank you. Deanna?
I have two things. I did attend the opioid awareness and overdose medication meeting last night. Danielle Palacios arranged for, the health department and Nurse Shelley White from the health department to come and present, shared information about what an overdose looks like and what you should do in that case. And then also how to use the medication, how to get your own, overdose medication, naloxone you can carry. It's available for free. And it was very informative. People had a lot of questions. We, over the last several weeks with some of the incidents we've dealt with, we've significantly increased our naloxone doses in the district. We are required by law to have doses in the middle school and the high school, but we are now adding doses in the elementary just in case. So that's really, that's unfortunate, but we want to be prepared in case something were to happen.
And it's about protecting all of our citizens. Yes, of course, our students, but that's where we're in business for, but we're having a parent event or a family event, a Christmas program, right? So it's about that. I would guess there was
About 50
50 people or so.
and actually quite a few, there were several students that
Yeah.
attended. One student asked a really good question. What if I don't know how to do CPR and I don't have naloxone? What do I do? And so her response was, even if you don't know how to do CPR, you should at least try. And then you call 911 and you do your best.
Yeah.
She goes, and she said she lived far out of town.
And I think the other one, she really helped break some myths.
She did. She shared some myths, but she also, she was pretty matter of fact about what happens, and you have opportunity to hear something like that. It was informative for
A
me.
lot of information on the Good Samaritan law.
Yep.
And how the Good Samaritan law comes into play.
Yep.
How, I carry it in my glove box in my car, right? How you do things, and really good information on the Good Samaritan law. I think couple of the ones that were actually a learning for me on the
too.
Good Samaritan law was let's say there's a party going on of children and they're not of age, right? And something happens and they have Narcan or naloxone. How do you say that? Generic?
Naloxone.
Naloxone. Narcan, naloxone. But that if they administer it and dial 911, they don't get charged with an MIP.
Yeah.
Right, even if they're under the influence or whatever, that their Good Samaritan trumps
Right.
them getting in trouble.
Right.
And the idea there is that the individual who needs the help gets the help without the fear of the other teenager getting in trouble.
Right.
And I think that's a really, really important message to get out to our young people.
Definitely, because I think that there's times where, she did talk about you can never let them sleep it off there, and so that's not gonna
Yeah.
happen.
Or put them in the shower, turn on the
Yeah,
water and leave
that's not
them,
gonna
right?
happen.
And,
That's
those
not gonna
kinds
be
of,
either.
that's not,
Sober
'em up,
kind of
right?
thing.
Yeah.
But that you as a, if you are, like you said, a kid at a party and something happens, call 911 because of the Good Samaritan law.
if you stay and you
Can't be
administer what
charged.
you have, can't be.
You're trying to help them.
Yeah, so I thought that was a really good.
I didn't know
learning for
that
me.
either.
So there were some good learnings for me.
Yeah.
And the myth, excuse me, MYTH myth about touching fentanyl is one that I want you to know, I have spread myths. Meaning things that I didn't know, that people who I trusted their professionalism told me, and it was myths.
Yeah, they're not saying go and touch things.
No, but they have this fear of,
Yeah.
they put the fear in us there.
Yeah.
And so
There's
there was
videos
just-
online
there was
and
great,
stuff that
but
probably
it was a
have
great presentation. It's too bad that we couldn't have filled the auditorium
Yeah.
because there was one suggestion, which was great afterwards. We're gonna see if we can do that same presentation in Spanish at our PAC meeting.
Oh, cool.
So that was a great.
It was good. Thanks to Nurse Danielle for getting that arranged. They also did provide us some doses of naloxone that they happen to have. It's not something that they do, but they're working to kind of get the law changed so that schools can more easily get the doses.
I had a question. Do we have doses on buses as well?
Not that I'm aware of.
Would that be something that we can look into?
Be a policy.
I won't let us right now.
Yeah, see, that's some of the things. There's certain laws, like the question was asked last night, if kids under 18, like we don't allow you to self-carry medication here unless you have like permission and all that. So that was another good question. Can kids carry doses? Well, technically, they're not supposed to. But if you do carry one, the nurse just does like a little mini, like check-in with you to make sure you know what you're doing with it, and then you actually can. But you don't need to carry doses at school because we have doses. Yeah. But anyway, my second thing is I met with the CBC Running Start gal again today. And we really, because I had a lot of questions, they went through our courses we offer here for dual credit and the CBC AA program. And we actually they have to take 30 credits through CBC out of the 90, but we actually have 75 credits here that they could take for their AA, and then take, the others online or whatever. We have like all the science courses, all the English courses, that it is a more narrow set of choices, so there isn't as many options. And so we don't have history. We're going to be adding history, maybe communications, but some of those classes are classes they could take online, but history is one that all students have to take, so it's a real natural one we should have. So we'll be adding that. And then I was kind of worried about electives and things, but we actually are in really good shape with electives. So as part of the Running Start night, we're going to be communicating that, like, you can do. And even with the 30 credits, the classes they take, they could just take here but online, so they don't have to travel anywhere to get their aid. So I'm pretty excited about that.
That's right.
And that's it for me.
Any questions for Deanna?
Would he record this presentation regarding the opioids?
We didn't, it's so hard to record things like that unless you have because we don't have the right equipment. But she said she's done it virtually before. I think, there's definitely some things maybe she can come back and do student presentations, I think.
Is this something we would consider scheduling maybe quarterly or even twice a year?
Maybe
Have
even
another
like something,
opportunity.
it's just, she does public health is what she does.
Right.
Maybe there's more topics that she could do as well, kind of a series. Yeah, I'll talk to Danielle so she can communicate with her.
I think that would be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Deanna, do we have the capability of having this presentation for our high school students?
Well, I don't know that this particular presentation was for high
Uh-huh.
school students, but there's definitely information that was part of it would be good for high school students. But I wonder what other kinds of presentations she does
Uh-huh.
that would be useful for high school students, because I know when we had the Triumph and Sundown come and did that presentation,
Uh-huh.
it was really more about what happens if you're kind of at the end, when
Right.
you really, versus here's why you don't. And so that happens, a lot of that happens, and there are presenters that come in through health class. But again, kids take health one time in high school, not every year. There is a couple different presentations that do happen through health through the 4 years, but I think it's something that I was happy about the turnout, because sometimes when we have meetings and things like that, we don't get hardly anybody. But I was also kind of surprised that there wasn't more people, because I can tell you, of those 50, there was Kim, me, my husband, my daughter, my son-in-law. There was, Athena was there. Jeannie was there, Linda was there. It was a lot of people that do work in the school. There was parents and kids as well, but with what's happened over the last several weeks, I was kind of surprised it wasn't more people. I think it's how do we get that reach and really bring people into? We had translation there, we didn't need to use it. But I think the PAC meeting would be great, and I think they would just love that information.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, and Lupa.
I go to the
Maldonado,
PAC
who was part
meeting.
of our migrant department, it was our translator last night, but we didn't have to use her. She just stayed to learn and listen too, but yeah.
This might be a selfish response to that. I couldn't make it because I
Oh,
couldn't get
Oh.
there
Yeah.
in time, but so if it's possible, I know 5:30 is kind of a tough, especially if people
Yeah.
work out of the city, that maybe we could push it to
Just
6.
Yeah.
And
we didn't, this is Danielle's kind of first one,
Yeah.
and she's scheduled, and so it's hard, and it's also hard sometimes because 5:30, 6:30, your kids come home and they're hungry and you have to feed them.
Yeah.
So it's always kind of hard to meet all those needs, but and maybe it's something we can do another time at a different time, so we can reach
Or
some more
even a
people.
morning, maybe.
Yeah. And maybe you could do it virtually, so people who just Because it was a PowerPoint and, you know, she had,
That's a good idea.
she was just like doing it so people could.
Webinar.
That's
style.
how you could record it. A webinar, yeah. That's how you could record it. That's the way to record, like putting someone out in front of the auditorium. You guys saw when we did like board meetings and stuff, the sound, it's really hard. You have to
Okay.
like literally sit in front of a computer to get it good. Unless you have a production crew, and we don't have one of those.
I did have someone ask if we could have childcare, if we did stuff like that in the future, but if we could do, record her and have her do it like in a webinar style, that would eliminate a lot of things.
Mhm.
But, and I like the idea of maybe turning it into a series, on
Yeah.
different
Yeah,
topics,
different
drug use,
topics.
alcohol abuse, it'd be outstanding.
I think a lot of times too, there's a lot of services people just don't know about, so that kind of information as well, so. Okay,
Great, thank you. And you're next.
Okay, so it's my typical piece of paper, what's been going on. So we've talked about a few of these. It was great presenting in the 2 AVID classes at Housel. We did attend the Garrett grant, if you, planning meeting. It's quite interesting to me to hear about how the Garrett grant works through a federal program and so on. Oh, my sticky note. How the Garrett grant starts at the federal level and how it works through the Department of Ed. So it was good for me to go and kind of hear about that. So we'll be working on that. Our surveys are going out. I attended the community and schools meeting. Also, that's a state-led organization and there's partnerships with lots of people. I was the only superintendent in the room that day. I think once again, it's good to understand some of the foundation principles. Met with Foster Garvey and Corey Plager on our levy requirements. It's super exciting. We are moving forward. Everything will be ready for our next board meeting. Parent Square training has begun. It came to your email over just an hour or 2 ago. Our app and our website staff pages are done.
I'm looking at it right now.
You're looking at it right now, good. We're gonna continue updating our webpage for the levy information, what we can legally put on there and so forth. Our student board board members met with me and we're gonna start meeting with the Houghton Middle School students so that we can hear their voice and they won't come to our meeting, but we'll be able to report on their voice from the middle school.
Okay.
That's a new little piece we're working on. I'm planning for a superintendent webinar series. It won't be like monthly or every other week. It'll just be a series as things come up. And so it'll be a webinar. It'll have a chat feature, a Q&A feature. I'll have 3 or 4 topics. People can do them from wherever they're at. They can hear what's going on. And then I'll have someone there to monitor the Q&A. And we'll be able to get that information out so we know what people have to say. So we'll be looking for that. Super great news. My 3 o'clock meeting today was one of the better ones I've been. You've been asking me about facilities and facilities and facilities. Well, I finally got to the horse's mouth. His name is Mark Brown. He actually physically lives in Colfax. He's our Eastern Washington rep from OSPI. And you want to hear some really good news? They're going to give us $37,984 to do a facilities review and make our 10-year plan. So Architects West is who we will reach out to. We can reach out to any architect, but since they've done a lot of our work, right, we would reach out to them. It's a professionally done document. It has all the analysis of square footage and buildings and everything from when you can plan you're going to need to do carpet in this new high school to all of the pieces. You get, and then you also do, there's all kinds of things. So Mark Brown is coming to see us on the 20th at 1 o'clock. Andy Howe and I are going to, it's called ICOS or ICOS, depending on how you pronounce it. It's a program that we use through OSPI, and we're gonna update our system. Our system has some stuff that hasn't been done since 2017 and a couple things since 2021. And we're going to update that system, get our square footage correct. For example, this building isn't even in as it's done with construction in this system. And so we're going to update all of the system. We're going to click the submit button. The reason we're not submitting for that money this second is because you have 1 year to the day to claim that money. And you have to make sure that your architect can do and complete and finish that whole process so that they can bill you before that 1 year. And the other piece is a 6 month, so I'll be speaking with Ed Champagne. I texted him earlier today, he goes, oh, I knew you were gonna call. So, I'm gonna call and get that part going, so that was just really, really good news. So we'll have a, very much like our strategic plan, we'll have a full facilities review, what the plan is, everything from roofs and all of that to HVAC and all of the things down literally to, we'll analyze the carpets in the buildings and say, okay, this is a, you have to start rotating this building and do, 5 classrooms or a wing or a hall at a time so that your budget can sustain that work. We still are continuing to have roof issues at Houseville Middle School and Old Prosser High School. Just kind of stay tuned for that. I'm getting some work done on that. The phone cameras, for those of you who've been wondering about continuing to improve the security, we've ordered phone cameras for all of, I want to make sure Sean was shaking her head. We've ordered all the phone cameras for all of the buildings so that when you push the button, we see the face of the person. We're going to raise the camera at KRV and we're going to lower the camera at the high school. So we are within the realm of the faces and using our security as it was intended to. Athletics, winter sports, I just happened to, I got a text from Mr. Jackson and Huck, and they had a great meeting, so they just are finishing up. And we have the girls swimmer at state this weekend in Tacoma. The principal evaluation meetings have begun with their growth goal meetings. I'm meeting with the principals. We're really working on mentorship, that it's not really about evaluation, it's about growth and developing people's supporting their strengths and supporting their weaknesses and honoring their strengths and helping them to grow. I'm starting to plan the director evaluation meetings and how does that work and who can I bring in that might be a SPED director, a mentor. Who could I bring in that's like I found Mark Brown to work with Andy to be a mentor, so those people have the right person mentoring them through the system. Women in leadership, I'm really pushing on all of our women in leadership. No matter that we're in the 21st century, women are still less represented in positions of leadership. And so I'm a big proponent of that. So we are joining in on lunch and learns and things in the spring, and we're really trying to develop those leaders in our system. Yeah, my evaluation tool and goals will be ready to present soon. I do really want to compliment Craig and Delise. I always seem to do this at fiscal. To each and every time I meet with them, sometimes it's 5 minutes check-in, sometimes it's a longer meeting. We're seeing the growth of Delise and the mentorship from Craig really shine. And what I'm also seeing is systems that seems like we open something, we think we're working on it, and then 5 more things open. And so really working on systems and how we're going to prove that. What I'm also seeing is a relaxed facial picture and posture of our staff members. From Kim and Lori and Tammy and willingness to lean into the work and to learn rather than, oh my goodness, right? And so we're seeing that posture change. And that's what leadership does when people can lead in. Really great news. How do we solve the fastest way to solve the budget problem? Bring the students back. We're 12 more this month than we were last month. And so, we're way over, not way over, but we're hitting like almost 60 over budget right now. So if we can continue to spread the word and spread the message, that's the fastest way to solve our budget issue. And then levy work is continuing. Tomorrow we're going to a training, except Deanna and I kind of had an epiphany about 20 minutes ago. We really shouldn't both be gone tomorrow. So Deanna and I were going to go tomorrow, and then we're like, that's not very good practice. So I think only one of us is going tomorrow. We don't know who.
We arm wrestle tomorrow.
Yeah, but time immemorial is something that is the state of Washington is pushing, and it's part of our leadership training that we have to do. So one of us is going to go and learn what it means for our district, and we're going to go from there. And if you have a chance, our school system has worked so hard to honor our veterans. There's everything from brunch in the morning and assemblies and lunch, dinner, and then our band's been working and parade on Saturday. I just can't be prouder. And as a daughter of a veteran, it's really good to see the honoring of those that have served our country so well. So that's my report.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Kim? Okay, moving on. Noah, you hear anything? Are they,
I don't think they're gonna get over, so I can go now or after you guys or whatever. It's your guys' call at this
Want
point.
to wait till the end?
Sure, yeah.
all right. Jeannie, we'll start with you.
Okay, of course, I don't have a lot to report because I haven't been doing anything. However, a comment got back to me through my husband from a meeting he was at, that somebody was at the high school, saw our anatomical table and said, wow, this is such a big deal for a small school district. Why wasn't a picture of it with the teacher in the Prosser paper telling what it was? Now, to the best of my knowledge, I don't remember seeing that. When I tell people about it, they go, no way. Really? We have that? Yeah, they're so surprised. So we should be proud of that.
I think we've had it a year too.
Yeah,
I know that it was put up on Instagram, but it was not in the paper.
yeah, but everybody doesn't have social
Yeah.
media. Some of us are in the Stone Age, Noah.
I'll etch it out for you.
Okay, we don't have any social media. Oh, look at that. Anyway, that's all I have.
Okay, well, welcome back. It's good to see you. Glad you're back.
Pardon?
Glad you're back.
Thank you so much. You know what? It's good to be here. It really is. And I hated missing all those meetings, but you wouldn't have wanted me.
Peggy? Okay. Anthony, no report. Lisa?
Good meeting. We're on the up. Things are getting better fast. That's it.
I don't have much. I just want, and I'll send it to Kim. Maybe she can get it to everybody, but the WASDA 2024, what is it? Priorities, legislative priorities is finalized and out. I'll just kind of briefly go over a few of the highlights. Provide ample, equitable and stable public education, and then they kind of go through a little bit. One of the big ones I saw was advanced and special education. So getting more focus of that in our legislature. Build safe and healthy schools, and then transport and make sure kids are fed. So those are the top priorities. And of course, there's other things that are inside that, but I'll make sure we get that out. Other than that, that's all I got. Now we'll go to student reports. Yoshimi, you're first.
I'm late because of my Rain Star class, by the way.
That's okay.
So I'm doing the ASB report. So for Pink Week, we raised a total of $6,533.02. The goal was 5,000. So you agree on that?
Good job.
And then for senior shirts, we have a committee working on those. So those should be getting out by January, maybe, hopefully after winter break. And then we have a Veterans Day assembly coming up, and the band's gonna be in the parade.
Great, thank you.
I'm gonna do Caitlin's report, because she's still not here. So she was gonna talk about athletics. So swim is going to stay at Tacoma. I know Kim talked about that in hers as well. Cross country went to state. They did okay. No one placed, I'm pretty sure, but still made it. So that's an achievement. Soccer and volleyball season came to an end. I was really rooting for them because in my opinion, they were underdogs, but, and then we have winter sports coming up. There's a meeting going on right now, or maybe it just ended, I'm not sure. And so we're gonna have boys and girls basketball, wrestling, and then we're going to have boys swim. I don't know how they're gonna swim in the winter, but that's their problem.
Inside.
That's nice. Yeah, so that's all I have on that. And then I had personally very little. I did receive some feedback from our last meeting. I actually got a letter in the mail, delivered at the high school. No one doxed me, so I'm happy with that. But it was thanking us for our work on passing the health curriculums. And it was a very nice handwritten note. So I was happy to get that and show that the community had positive feedback and we did what was asked of us. That's all I have.
Now,
Thank-
I have a comment on Noah's. I've ragged on my husband forever, you know, our city pool is called a California pool. It has to be heated year round. And I said, why don't they come up with some way they could cover it in the winter so it could be used? And he goes, yeah, we've talked about it, but it hasn't gone anywhere. And I didn't know if everybody knew that. He says, I don't know why they put that kind of pool in, but they did. Must have been a good buy at the time.
Where do the boys swim practice?
4 days a week, they, practice at the Prosser Family Fitness Zone,
Oh, yeah.
PFFZ, and 1 day a week, they go to Tri-City Country Club, I think it's still called, well, what, the Tri-City, is it Tri-City?
The Pacific Clinic is the new name, the former.
Yes, so anyhow, I knew there was a name change, and they go there, for a couple of reasons, the pool's bigger, but they can also dive there.
Oh, mhm.
And so we have reestablished our relationship with the Prosser Family Fitness Zone, and I'm super excited about that. The coach and I worked really hard on building that relationship again and still allowing us to go to the Tri-Cities once a week on Thursday.
I haven't got the trip ticket
Yeah.
yet, but I'm just super
Yeah.
happy. I'm
Yeah.
not going to Yakima.
Yeah, so we reestablished that relationship. That was very good for our community, and 1 day a week so that we can work on our diving and our starting blocks and some of the stuff, so we can still
Oh, cool.
be as prepared as we can. And we are still partnering with the neighboring schools.
What about the play next week?
I forgot. I talked to Mr. Esty every day. You think I'd remember this? So 12 Angry Jurors will be next week in the auditorium. From what I've seen, little snippets of their line reading, it actually sounds pretty funny, pretty good. So I would definitely recommend going.
Great. Thank you. So future meetings, we'll have it's a study session, but it'll most likely be a special meeting November 15th, right here at the Prosser High School Library Workroom at 7 p.m. See
Well,
if it's a special meeting, we can do it
We can
early.
do it.
So just keep an eye out. It could be at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. Okay.
Oh,
Actually. And with that, we are going to recess into executive session pursuant to RCW 423110. I guess that'd be G, right? And this is to evaluate the qualification of an applicant for public employment or to review the performance of a public employee. However, subject to RCW 423144, discussion by a governing body of salaries, wages, and other conditions of employment to be generally applied within the agency shall occur in a meeting open to the public. And when a governing body elects to take final action, hiring, setting the salary of an individual employee or class of employees, or discharging or disciplining an employee, that action shall be taken in a meeting open to the public. This will include the board and Steve Webb. We'll go 30 minutes, so we'll give a couple minutes to kind of break. 7:20. Or we can be tomorrow in the executive session.
Yeah, perfect.
so you